Hey there, friends. You guys can roll into the room, do as we normally do, and we allow folks to come in here. So we're going to at least have a little bit of an audience to not have to start to repeat ourselves over and over again. Let me start from the newest, and I'll work my way up best I can. A lot of familiar faces in here today. Let me turn off the soft porn music real quick as you guys ease up in here. Okay, to a bunch of my friends, Giggles the Clown, what's going on, man? Apocalypse FTW, good to see you again. Chris Matthews, always good to see you, buddy. Let's see, R. Flett, Tyler, the Sentinel, what's up, man? Tisha, how are you doing? Gina for Joe P, I don't know. It's hard for me. See, I'm bad with these handles. I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X, but still, I mean, I have the boomer mentality when it comes to the coolness and not being one of the cool kids. Let's see. Aaron Greenfield, Andrew H, J711. Let me roll through some of these. Johnny Threebar, good to see you again. Thank you, as always, for the quality moderation of the channel. I'm going to obviously catch up with a lot of you guys during the stream, and especially the new ones coming in here. And there's a flood of you coming in right now. So my apologies if I miss you. KN Scott, Unforgettable. Paul Davis, Buffalo Ridge Farm, Texas Beast, Robert Sanders, Thoughts of an Old Soldier, Tad Moyer, Charlie Walker, Brent Gilbert, Flatbed Trucker, Country Boy, Cowboy Jeff 1911. Let's see, and I think that's it for now as far as catching up on. I know you guys are still coming in, so I'll give the shout outs as we go along. I wanted to go over a few things. Obviously, I have been out of pocket for the last several days since Thursday of last week. You guys know that I typically don't advertise where I'm going and when I'm going until, obviously there's signs. It's one of those things where there's a lot of nut jobs out there. And I don't mean in this community. I'm talking about the anti-gun people. I've had death threats over the years. A lot of weird stuff has happened over the years. And you can find anyone, anywhere, at any time. It's that easy. So what I do is I don't try to advertise where and when I'm going somewhere for the safety of my family. Again, those of you that stay directly plugged into the gun stuff out there, you're more than likely going to see me pop up in pictures somewhere other than at my home. Anyway, it's not like I'm trying to disguise it. Let me just say that. But I just don't want to put it out there to where it's painfully obvious. So I was at GunCon up in Iowa. It was one of John Patton's events put on up there, a great event at the Brownells headquarters. He did a really good job up there. In fact, StreamYard is who I use to live stream. And as much as I love them, there are things that I dislike about it. One of them is the very fact that I cannot do some cool stuff as far as immediately showing you pictures without having to do some secret handshakes and things like that. So I'm just going to show you real quick some of the cool stuff that I saw. Oh man, yeah, here's two videos. I'm gonna have to put this out tomorrow in the form of a video because there's a couple things that are really cool. Let's see. Probably the one I liked the most was this gun right here. Rost Martin, if you guys have not heard of it, again, I'm just going to say that it has the makings of a Glock clone, but it does a disservice to it to call it a Glock clone. That's not a great picture of it because obviously you're looking at it off my phone. The ergonomics are great. The extra features that you get are great. Serrations on the front and the rear of the slide, as well as on top of the slide. See if I can find that real quick. Not a great picture, again, for you to be able to see, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. The serrations on the top of the slide. A lot of those features like that, including an awesome trigger and a couple other things about it. Oh, and proper grip angle. No offense, Glock, but that's the proper grip angle of a pistol. And I carry Glocks, so this was a really cool thing. All the features that it has on it, iron sights, not plastic sights. It comes in under $500. In fact, well under $500. It's not a budget gun, but it's right in line with all those other firearms out there. This one here is roughly the size, if you're trying to put it into a category of a Glock 19. look for me to be handling one of these very soon. The owner of the company was there. He and I talked for a while. I mean, he's familiar with my channel. I had not heard of his gun before that. I don't look at a whole lot of print media anymore. Unfortunately, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of YouTube videos. I'm kind of always going, and unfortunately, my head stays down a lot, and I don't see the new stuff that I probably should see out there sometimes. This is something I should have seen at SHOT, and I did not. So look for me to have one of those Ross Martins very, very soon. I may, and this is a possibility. Obviously, I will pay, and it will come out of my pocket. Not the one they send me, but the one that we may resurrect the Gun Bullies segment. If you remember, I had a Gun Bullies segment a few years back where everything from a Winning Weaponry AR-15 to a Rock Island Armory 1911, I just totally destroyed it. I hate to call them torture tests because it's not even really a torture test. It's like sometimes it was ridiculous stuff. Some of the guns we froze into a block of concrete and then blew it out with tannerite. And you know what I mean? It got ridiculous, but it was fun stuff. And I talked to the owner of the company of the Ross Martin over there, and he's interested in us resurrecting that. The thing that I do to try to make it as unbiased as I possibly can is I buy the gun. I spend my own money on it so that when it does come out and I do torture it, if you want to call it that, if it continues to run, I don't want anybody thinking that I received money from them or received it for free. It is my money, and they will not be paying me for that. It can be a costly series because it does take money. Not just the cost of the gun, but the ammunition, sometimes the different things that I utilize in order to bully the gun in the Gun Bully segment. It can become pricey over time. So it will be out of my budget and nobody will pay that. But I feel like that's a fair way to do that. And it's certainly not a test. It's just a way to be ridiculous and tear things up. But it's a fun series. I mean, I literally put Chick-fil-A hot sauce in one of them one time to see how long what would clog it up. Just dumb stuff, right? For me, it's fun, gives me a chance to get outside and do some different stuff. So nevertheless, that was something very cool at GunCon that I saw. Saw a lot of good people over there. Obviously, I don't get to run into my friends. I'm down here in Louisiana. Not a whole lot of content creators are down here. No companies are down here. So I don't run with the same crowd that a lot of my friends do. I miss Johnny. Johnny B is, I really like Johnny and I like being around Johnny. He couldn't make it. So I hated that he wasn't there, but outside of Johnny not making it, most of my favorite people in the industry were there. Jared from Guns and Gadgets, always like hanging out with him. Mike from Mr. Guns and Gear. Anthony, Arm Scholar was there. Andrew from Gloctopus was there. Gosh, I'm going to go. Rachel B was there. Mr. Gosh, I always forget the handles because I know most of these guys by names. I forget sometimes their YouTube handles. Mr. Big Kid was there. Some new guys were there that I had never seen before. Tactical Toolbox was there. That was pretty cool. I always like hanging out with Jonathan. He's a good dude. Anyway, a lot of the people that I like in this industry were there. So we got to really have some fun, drink a couple of beers and have a good time. John Patton put on a great event at a great place. The Brownells place is nice. It's a great place to have something like this. It's neat that they get to show off their stuff also. So nevertheless, that's where I've been. If you guys have been wondering where I've been and why I've been putting out my daily videos, that's why. And it's another reason why I'm doing a live stream, because a bunch of little things have happened over the last week that I haven't necessarily had a chance to drill down into. And this is my chance to kind of put it all together, get some feedback from you guys. I would like to make this request real quick. I'm going to start doing something that I think is going to be different for this industry, but I have to start testing it out. This is going to sound risky when you hear this. I want to start having people not just be able to get into the chat room and comment like a lot of you are right now. I want people to be able to call in. I have the ability through my board over here. There's a little Bluetooth device that will tie directly to my phone. I do have a secondary phone number through an app that I can use on my phone. In fact, I guess I should tie that Bluetooth, excuse me, to it before I make this request. I'm going to ask somebody to give me a call. so we can at least test this out. So I'm very curious if this is going to work, how it's going to work. The risky thing, of course, is going to be I have no way to screen the call until I answer the call. So it can get really weird really fast if the wrong person calls, if I get some kind of wacko leftist, which still fun, but they may enter the call with a crazy, F-bombs and stuff like that, which, I mean, this is a live stream. I think it goes without saying that when you have a live stream, just prepare for things to happen. And really there should be a language warning anyway, just in case. I mean, you're liable to see that in the comment section anyway. But I do want to test that out, and I'm trying to see where my Bluetooth piece is that ties BTA. I don't see it listed on here. Let me unplug it, and I'll plug it back up again and see if maybe it picks it up then. Because I'm going to have one of you guys, doesn't matter who it is, email me your phone number, or excuse me, email me, and I will send you the phone number because I want to test the calling in. And we'll test that out here live on this live stream. I think that's going to be fun. I think once we get this ironed down and working properly, we're not taking away from the chat room that, again, it's pretty active right now. So I don't want to take away from that because I enjoy the chat room. I like to go back and look at it after the live stream and see what you guys were talking about. As you obviously know, I don't have the opportunity to monitor that much. Again, thank you to the moderators who do that, but I don't get a chance to read a lot, especially if there's questions in it. So this is at least a way for me to take some calls and devote my undivided attention to that. Yes, Ryan, they do rock, by the way. Thank you for that. Let's see. I don't see it though. Usually it pops up. I use this is a really cool, I don't know if you can see it over here. This is a really, really cool board that I use. Not this one right here, but this one over here. And it's made kind of for this. It's a Zoom P8, and it has this little Bluetooth thing that you can buy separate and plug it into the board. And there's a dedicated channel that will, when I say channel, I mean like a sound mixing board channel, like one of these channels here. There's a dedicated channel that points to that Bluetooth device. So if you take incoming calls or make calls, it would go through that if you choose it in your phone, which is what I'm trying to do right now, and allows you to bring those calls into your actual live stream and run them through that and control the volume and some of the effects on the phone itself. That's what it's made for. I've never used it. I have used it on my podcast. I had Chris Pronto on here, the lead singer for All That Remains, Phil Labonte. I had him on my podcast one time, and I did it through that. So no, it works. I'm just having trouble seeing it right now. I don't know if I need to update something because I do not see the BTA2 device in here. So I apologize for that. I'll look at it, or look for it rather. Let me turn this off and back on again. Maybe it'll recognize it then. We're going to go ahead and start the conversation here in a second about the debate. Not sure if you guys got to see the debate from the other night. We did have debate coverage down in Iowa, or up in Iowa, with on Jared's channel, Guns and Gadgets. It was myself, Jared, Stephen Williford was on there, Eric Pratt from Gun Owners of America, and eventually at some point a whole slew of other people showed up. Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear, Anthony. So it was really fun. It was a lot of fun to do that. But yeah, man, I don't see that BTA2 in here. I'm going to have to work on this. It may be a software upgrade or something like that, but I may have to test this another time. I hate that because I was hoping to do it. All right. I'm going to play. You guys obviously saw a lot of the debate last week. You saw a lot of the lies that came out. Incorrect debunking and fact checking also took place, and that's kind of what we were doing during the debate. I mean, right out of the gate, Biden was lying. I mean, right out of the gate. If you remember, Biden said that he was the only president, and what did he say, 100 years? Or he might have even said ever. Who knows? It was a lie no matter what. I don't care how much of a lie it is. If it's got a portion of a lie, the whole thing is a lie. But he said that he was the only one that, only president that never had anybody from the military service die under his watch. This is not even splitting hair right here. Do you guys remember whenever they withdrew from Afghanistan? You remember that's under Biden, right? That was under his first year. What happened? Maybe Biden forgot because he doesn't care about our service members. Do you remember the 13 service members who died from the bomb that blew up right there at the gate, the transition point at the airport that we were still occupying whenever people were hanging off of airplanes and things like that? Anybody else remember that, or is it just me? Because for this man to say that no one died, these service members' parents, those 13 families who lost their child over there because of Biden's missteps and his general screw-ups, have got to be pissed off about that. To blatantly lie about something like that, I mean, at least the best he could have done is say, not that it's any better, but we only lost this many people compared to President X or whatever. But to say that nobody lied means that he's either forgotten about them or he's expecting, as he should, because most of them are stupid, he's expecting the majority of the American people to be so stupid that they completely forgot about those 13 men and other people. I forget who, somebody else, it might have been Mike who brought up a really good point that there was somebody else. Gosh, I can't think of who it was. Someone else who had 2 or 3 other service members who had perished. So at least 16, I believe, that I know of had died. But those 13 were the biggest, most blatant ones, because that wasn't some covert operation that nobody knew about. That was right in everybody's face. We were literally watching that. I mean, as it took place in real time, the Afghanistan debacle. We watched all of this. And I remember when that happened. If you'll remember also, and there's varying stories, so I'm just trying to be fair here. There's a Marine, I believe it was a Marine sniper, who said that he had the suicide bomber in his sights earlier that day, and he was not given permission to take the guy out. That the guy looked suspicious, looked like there was an issue with him, looked like he possibly was doing a dry run with the vest on, and when he made the call to ask if he could take the guy out, his commanding officer said no. And he said, well, can you call somebody? He says, I don't know who to call. I mean, that's our military right now. And if you'll remember later that day, bomb blows up and 13 U.S. service members perished in that. So that was really, that to me, that's the lie that stuck out the most, and the one that was the most offensive to me, because again, I'm not a member of those 13 who lost their lives' families. And it was offensive to me. I cannot imagine being the father or the mother of a service member who died during that absolute catastrophic chaos of a withdrawal, completely unplanned, poorly planned for whatever plans were made, and then have a president act like it didn't happen. You follow what I'm saying? That would really, really, really bother me. But let me do this. I want to play. I found this interesting clip. It's a short clip, but it's some of the screw ups and things that Biden said. And I would like to play that real quick. Let me get my ugly face off of this screen. And let me come over here and let's play this. And
making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person
I'm gonna turn this up.
eligible for what I've been able to do.
Let me start it over.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, the idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that. But here's the deal. There's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses,
What?
brothers and sisters.
What?
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
Yep. Wow. All right, let me kill this.
Holy crap. Got an engine fire.
Yeah, holy crap indeed. Okay. So as you can see, that was incorrect. And of course, he ended it on exactly what I said, that he did not have any troops that were lost under his dictatorship. You know, I don't even know how to talk more about that, simply because it's so offensive to me that, you know, he would have done himself a whole lot more favors had he made it a point to actually talk about those 13 service members, and even talk about how, you know, he wouldn't apologize for it, obviously, but just talk about their families and say, like I said earlier in the broadcast, that he could have said, we only lost this many, and my heart goes out to the 13 that we did lose at the Afghanistan withdrawal. But to completely not mention them and then lie about them, to me, was one of the most cold things that I've ever seen, because that's a dismissal of what happened and the lives that were given for them. So incredible that they didn't have a better plan to address those 13 that they lost, because this would have been better for Biden not to even bring up losing people, service members, under his dictatorship. So he would have been better off not even talking about that. Just bring up one of his other lies or whatever. But that, just to bring that one up and then to purposely omit something like that, to me was a low blow. That was something that they should have thought better of that before they did that. Couple of quick things, and I made myself some notes just so I would not forget. I know that I'm not going to be able to find him, I'm sure. I know that somebody asked me why there was no discussion of firearms. If you guys remember that, there was no discussion of the Second Amendment or firearms, which kind of surprised me, because if the left and the Democrats knew what they were doing, they would know that one of the biggest things that people on the right, more specifically Second Amendment people, were dissatisfied with Donald Trump would be his support of the Second Amendment. Not saying that he supports it, and not saying that he supports the NRA. I'm talking about actually supporting it. The issue of the bump stocks and the issue of due process for red flag gun laws has really stuck in the craw of people here recently, and certainly since Trump was taken out of office, if you want to call it that, whatever your opinion is of how that happened. So to me, this would have been a way, knowing that Biden was probably going to shit the bed during the debate and do a really poor job of it. To me, they could have at least countered that by making it awkward for Trump to talk about the Second Amendment, by bringing those points up to him and making him address the red flag gun laws where he said no due process, take the guns first. That would have been a really awkward moment for Donald Trump. Now, maybe they've planned for that and they had a really good answer for it. Maybe the Biden administration knew that the Trump administration had the Trump camp had a better way to address that. It's possible. But the fact that they didn't talk about the Second Amendment at all, that Joe Biden didn't talk about it at all, to me, on his part, not me, on Biden's part, was a mistake. The anti-gun people have paid Joe Biden a lot of money. They've given him a ton of money. And that's not something that just gets let go. When you put that much money into somebody, they're expecting something in return. That's not a freebie. They're not doing that because they like the sound of Joe Biden's voice. They're doing that because they expect Joe Biden to do something because they just gave him a ton of money. And the fact that he didn't address that has the anti-gun people really pissed off right now. They're not happy at all. They paid to have Biden do things. Call it bribe money or whatever you want, but they have paid Joe Biden money to do their bidding. And the fact that he didn't address that is a big thing. In fact, when they do, let's say the Crazy Town for Crazy Moms or whatever they are, every town for crazy moms, when there's, whether it's any kind of attack in public where somebody uses a gun, whether it's the nightly news talking about gun control or whatever, or State of the Union address where they address a Second Amendment topic, or like in this case, if it would have happened, a debate where they talk about gun control. Those are very healthy and useful for the membership drives and the money drives that props up the anti-gun movement. They don't exist without membership drives. They don't exist without people mailing them money or sending them money. This is their way whenever these politicians touch on something like at a debate or a State of the Union address, where they immediately can come out after that and use that as a campaign drive. They'll use that as a membership drive to really whip up their base and have some of the idiots out there send them money for doing nothing, for printing T-shirts and bumper stickers. So this was a huge missed opportunity for them to have a membership drive, to gain money, to immediately tweet out after the debate, hey, look what he said about guns, and to quote him, and then to add something really stupid about and negative about Donald Trump being pro-gun to try to make him look bad. This would have been their way to get people who are anti-gun, or possibly on the fence, but most people are not. It's usually going to be the anti-gun people. It's a way to bribe them into giving you more money. And they did not have that opportunity. Like they tweeted out leading up to the debate, the Crazy Town for moms that are demanding, a little bit of action, whatever. They were tweeting out leading up to the debate. Oh, how, Biden was going to destroy Trump and all this kind of stuff. Like they were really, prepping their crowd, prepping their followers that, hey, man, you got to watch this. Biden's going to have his way with Trump. You can go to their X feed and see that leading up to that debate, they were like foamed mouth old ladies. They were all, wound up. And then silence during and after the debate. Silence, not a thing. No way to have a membership drive. Some of them might have mentioned something that, Biden didn't look too bad, but they were all, for the most part, very, very quiet. Again, go back and look at their Twitter feed or X feed, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That's a huge missed opportunity for them. No money drive. They likely missed out on thousands, maybe tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, they would have needed a more competent person to deliver that message, not Biden. Again, a vegetable or mentally ill, brain damaged patient. So it would not have given them a lot of fuel. They probably would have had to really gin up their crowd on the YouTube the X or the Twitter account. But nevertheless, it would have been an opportunity for them to have a membership drive effort going on out there. And they totally missed that. And again, they have paid for that. They've paid handsomely into the Biden administration for that. And they didn't get it. So I can promise you there were phone calls that were made afterwards, people displeased with how that went down and that it didn't even have the slightest little opportunity to make a little money that night, to sell a T-shirt or two or something. So that will definitely, if there's another debate, which that can be debated between these two, there will definitely be, mark my word, there will definitely be gun control. No matter what, gun control will be talked about in the next one, because those people now are making those phone calls, the anti-gun groups, and saying, if you don't bring this up in the next debate, you're not getting this check from us. So they need, the Biden administration does, they need those people badly to continue to give them money. And if they choke off their opportunity to make money during the debate and shortly thereafter, it's going to cost them a lot of money. So let me roll into this next one. Let me get rid of this. Really wish I had a better way to put pictures in here. What's my next one? 4 takeaways. Here we go. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this. This is today's decision. Now, let me try to center this. As you guys know, I'm kind of a one-man show, so doing this all on my own. This is a Washington Post article. 4 takeaways from the Supreme Court's Trump immunity decision. The ruling is a win for Trump for a few reasons. It is likely to reverberate in the 2024 campaign and beyond. Here's what it means. Now, you have to search for this. That's why I'm using the Washington Post, because they are not left-leaning nut jobs. So this is going to be some truth that they're going to spit out here. Supreme Court ruled Monday that former President Donald Trump and other presidents enjoy a significant degree of immunity for actions taken as president, in a decision that could reverberate not just in Trump's criminal case, but also future presidents. The court split 6-3 along ideological lines in a finding that a president is A, absolutely immune for actions taken while exercising his, quote, core constitutional powers, and entitled to the presumption of immunity for all official acts. Now, where the left is setting their hair on fire right now, and if you go follow my Twitter or X feed, you will see my response. I have been trolling the hell out of the lefties this afternoon. I probably have 24 comments that I have left out there. You need to go check those out because they're really funny, because these people are likely setting their hair completely on fire right now, and I'm having a blast with it. But they're saying that, well, effectively the Supreme Court gave president permission to kill his political opponents if he doesn't want to. These are people who can't read, or they're stupid, or they're just outright lying. Because if you look at this paragraph right here, this is what they stated. Absolutely immune. The presidents are absolutely immune for actions taken while exercising their, quote, core constitutional powers. The murder of your opponent, which is what they would like to do to Donald. I'm more worried that the Biden administration will abuse this than I am about Donald Trump in his next term. But they're saying that they're implying that Donald Trump could just kill somebody. That's not a core constitutional power. That's not supported in the Constitution. So it's not possible. And look at the B one, the next one. These are things that the Supreme Court justices wrote into this thing, trying to make it clear to idiots what it meant, and they're skipping over that. That the president is entitled to the presumption of immunity for all, quote, and I'm saying quote, there's none there, official acts. If you want to kill your opponent, which surely is what the Biden administration would like to do in this case, that is not an official act. Obama has, even Americans, he's drone strike Americans before. Those were considered official acts. In other words, maybe someone in your cabinet made that recommendation for national security reasons. You follow what I'm saying? It's not like, Barack Obama was playing cards one night and somebody beat him and he got mad at him and he walked over, grabbed the phone and said, I want you to kill Rodney over there because he just beat me in poker. That's not an official act. But whenever one of your, let's say your Secretary of State or some of your generals come to you and they say, this person right here, and believe me, I understand how it can be abused. Trust me on this. You can all of a sudden call something an official act. But if they say that Rodney, who beat somebody in cards, is a national security threat, and if we don't take him out, we're going to lose American lives, that becomes an official act. So that's where this immunity clause or this immunity ruling would apply to that, and that president would not be held accountable for that. He would have immunity in that case. The left is making it sound like he could go rob a bank just because he wanted a little bit scratch in his pocket and that he would be covered. That's the overreaction. That's the embellishment. That's the lies. That's the exaggerations of not only the leftists, but the left-leaning media, because the left-leaning media is headlining some of those same things in some of their reporting of this very thing. Again, guys, you know where I sit on this. One of my goals until the day I die will be to expose and point out the lies of the left-leaning media until the day I die. I intend to do that. I will never stop doing that. And that's what they're doing right now. They are forgetting this paragraph that I am highlighting right here. They are completely ignoring that paragraph and acting like it does not exist and that you can do whatever you want, a president can, and nothing matters because Trump benefited from this today. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to kick this back to the lower courts, because now the lower courts, according to this, and according to that highlighted area that you see right there, the courts now will have to determine, based on that last sentence that you see, entitled to the presumption of immunity for all, quote, official acts. Now those lower courts, who's the little scrubby guy? Oh, I forget his name now. The little turd guy that's trying to hit Trump for whatever. That's why this whole case came about. He's now going to have to convince somebody that whatever Trump did was not a personal act. It was a, quote, official act, or excuse me, I'm sorry, that it was a personal act and not an official act. Because if it's successfully labeled as an official act by the Trump camp, yes, Jack Smith, thank you, Roger Wood. If it's successfully labeled as an official act, the actions of Donald Trump, then it will fall under this immunity clause, and Trump will get immunity, and they can't do anything to him. So now their challenge is going to be to convince a court that these were not official acts that Trump did. So therefore, the immunity clause would not apply in this case, and Trump could be prosecuted for whatever reason. Now, I found it very interesting, and I'm probably going to put a video out on this tomorrow. This was very interesting to me. I'm not a lawyer, so sometimes law stuff does interest me. Clarence Thomas, I think, assuming where this was going, was quoted as saying, this is really good. Listen to this. If there is no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies, then he cannot proceed with this prosecution. A private citizen cannot criminally prosecute anyone, let alone a former president. Listen to what he said again. I want you to understand what he's saying. This is a smart man. Clarence Thomas is one of the smartest, probably since Alito. I had a lot of respect for Alito and his intelligence and the way he was able to look at things from a totally different angle than we were. And I think Clarence Thomas has really picked his ability to do that up. First thing he said was, and I want you to hear what he's talking about. He's talking about the special counsel, this Jack Smith special counsel. And this is the questions that we always ask, like on this question, well, that's not even a law, or there's nothing broken. Clarence Thomas said, if there is no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies, let's stop it right there. There is no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies. That's the president of the United States, Joe Biden in this case. His office is who appointed this special counsel. Congress didn't, and there's no law in the Constitution that says the president can appoint a special counsel in order to convict somebody criminally of anything. Like, they're essentially saying that Jack Smith is a private citizen. The follow-up to that was, excuse me, let me read that first sentence again. I'm not trying to confuse you. I just want to break this down properly because this is important. This is a lot of stuff in 3 sentences. It says, if there's no law establishing the office that the special counsel occupies, then he cannot proceed with this prosecution. Talking about Jack Smith. Jack Smith cannot proceed in prosecuting Donald Trump because there is no law establishing that the special counsel has any such authority. Second part of that is a private citizen cannot criminally prosecute anyone, let alone a former president. That's why I love Clarence Thomas. That's right in your face, right? We all see that. We all know that. But to hear him say that, you're like, oh, it makes perfect sense. That's like me saying, I want to prosecute I'm not an attorney. I'm just a dude. And I want to prosecute Hillary Clinton, or, well, she wasn't president. That's the other thing. Everyone is making comparisons about Trump being prosecuted and not Hillary Clinton. Now we have 2 different sides of the coin. Trump cannot be prosecuted because he was a president acting in an official capacity. Hillary Clinton was never president, so she had no official capacity for anything illegal that she did. This immunity clause does not apply to her, so she can be prosecuted for all the other stuff. I've heard people say today, oh, well, there we go. Now we can't do anything to Hillary. Let's not forget that she never was president. So all bets are still on. And they can go back and prosecute Hillary for the things that she's done, the 33,000 emails that she had. She was not president. She did not have any, there's no senatorial immunity. She did not have presidential immunity at that point to do the things that she did, which putting all those on a private computer, I understand is not official anyway, but she could have claimed that, I don't know, for whatever official actions, she could have probably swindled her way out of that. But she can't, because she does not have and never did have presidential immunity, to her chagrin. So that could be interesting too at this point. But anyway, there's some really cool stuff going on with this whole immunity thing. I don't know, you guys might know. I don't know what lower court this goes back to. I don't recall. So I don't know what kind of judge we're going to be dealing with that's going to give Smith the possible latitude to do some squirrely stuff. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting what Clarence Thomas said. I mean, the guy's so smart. He's off the chart smart, I think. Let's see. What else did I want to point out? One thing this just hit me. One thing that I wanted to point out, talking about the debate earlier before we move on to our next topic, leading up to the debate, all we heard was that Biden is capable of being, he's capable of a debate. The fact that we even have to establish that is sad, that we have the wrong person in there. But we're sitting here, and I say we, I'm talking about the left, trying to convince their own people, certainly not us because we know better, but their own people, that Biden is capable of not just functioning and without having to fill his diaper up on a regular basis unknowingly, but can also be president with access to the nuclear codes. Anyone who watched the debate and left that debate shocked, who left that debate with a different opinion of Joe Biden than before that, they shouldn't be allowed to function in society themselves. Because for the last 3.5 years, we've all seen the decline of this guy. We've all watched it. We've all witnessed it. And the leftists, they see it more than we do because that's their guy. They don't talk about it openly, but they talk about it behind closed doors, that what's wrong with our guy. So anyone who now has changed their mind and flip-flopped against Biden or questions Biden's mental acuity, you should disregard everything that person says forever. And you may, in fact, need to get them some mental help, because that means that they either truly believed that the guy was mentally okay, or they have believed all the lies that they've been spoon-fed. And even the average American has enough sense to know that Joe Biden is a potato. If they really and truly thought, leading right up to the debate, that they had a strong candidate capable of leading the world, then they are living in a land of obscurity that I have never been a part of. Because I have said from day one that I love some of the policy issues that Trump might implement, but I have issues with his Second Amendment stance, and I have issues with the way he delivers things. I see that. I don't need somebody else to tell me that. I don't need the media to tell me that. I don't need some leftist to tell me that. I know that. I'm very much aware of that. I'm aware that the guy that I voted for twice has some chinks in his armor. I get that. They either didn't think Joe Biden had chinks in his armor, or they ignored them and are that stupid to not be able to recognize the signs of dementia or some kind of a brain damage situation where the brain is completely deteriorating, not allowing this person to physically and mentally function anymore. So I would question any person, any of your friends or coworkers who over the last 3.5 years have ever told you that Biden is perfectly capable. If they come up to you acting like they're being all noble because now they recognize that Biden's not all together, don't let them off. Don't let them off easy like that. Because that's giving them their out that they need to bow out of the lie that they've been perpetuating the entire time. These people know what Biden's not been capable of. They've just been lying to you about it. So don't let them off that easy. I have a problem with that. The people, there's one person that I've spoken to in the last couple of days since the debate that is acting like, oh, he's so much smarter now than he was before. And, oh man, now I see kind of what y'all are talking about. I really never saw it before. I'm like, bull crap. You've seen it just like we have. I don't have some special portal that looks behind the curtain and sees how Biden acts in his downtime away from the cameras. I'm looking at the same stuff you are. And I've seen this for years. This is not something that happened last week. Biden suddenly didn't become a dementia patient. He suddenly didn't have brain damage. His brain didn't suddenly last Wednesday night start to deteriorate. He didn't start mumbling last Wednesday and Thursday. He didn't start forgetting things. He didn't start to doze off in front of world leaders last Wednesday or Thursday. This is something that we've been witnessing for years. And now they want to say they see it now. No, guys, don't let them off that easy. Do not let them off that easy. That's not right. And that means these people have been lying to your face for a very long period of time. And I'm not letting them go. Let's see. What else did I want to bring up? I had something else I want to talk about. Oh, it's just a quick conversation because I did put a video out on this the other day. Grab this real quick, guys. Obviously, I'm sure you had a lot of discussion about this on your own. Supreme Court strikes down Chevron, curtailing power of federal agencies. This is what I was talking about the other day that is going to have a ripple effect. That's a pretty cool looking statue. That's going to have a ripple effect for a while. And I think I might have made me some notes on this one. Maybe I didn't. No, I guess I didn't. I thought I made some notes on this. I apologize, but I thought I had. So the whole Chevron thing, I think that this is going to apply. I think we're going to do well across the board, not just in terms of the ATF. One of the things that it certainly does, and I still may put a full video out on this at some point. I think it's important to talk about Chevron and how it has an overwhelming effect. Just at a real 30,000 foot view, this is not a legal issue that I'm talking about as far as, legal terminology that I'm be using. Chevron is essentially a way that if a judge determines that a law is ambiguous in some kind of way, they can appoint or say that the government agency, if we're talking about guns, the ATF, essentially has the tie-breaking ability to describe the rule as they see it. And essentially, since Congress makes law, these bureaucracies, in this case the ATF, are speaking on behalf of Congress. In other words, when there's some kind of a trial and the ATF is called in on a gun-related issue, they don't call members of Congress in who really writes the law. What they do is they call the ATF in who's interpreting the law. The ATF then misinterprets the law, and they say that that's what Congress meant because we're the experts. Now that this goes away, the ATF and all the other federal bureaucracies, the unelected agencies, and that's super important because these are people that you do not elect, so they can do whatever they want with no repercussions. As you know, no one in the government ever gets fired, so they won't even lose their jobs or get demoted, likely promoted. This takes the ability of these people to put their thumb on the scale away from them. They can't do that anymore. They won't be considered the experts, and rightfully so. As I said in my video the other day, you are not hiring the cream of the crop in government jobs. Are there some good people that are qualified to work in the private sector that are in government jobs? Probably. Bad decision on their part. In a lot of cases, these people take these government jobs because they have really good pensions, they have really good benefits, really good insurance, and it's nearly impossible, if not impossible, to get fired when you suck at your job. Private sector, not so lenient. You suck, you're probably going to get fired. Not in a government job. So you're usually attracting the bottom of the barrel. You're attracting people who could not function in the private sector, who are not smart enough to function in the private sector, who probably could not get those jobs in the private sector, and they're going into a government job kind of as a safety net. I'm never going to get fired, you know? So this is something that now, instead of taking the word of a quote expert from a bureaucracy that was not elected, from a person who was the bottom of the barrel in his class, now we can bring in actual experts. And another thing it does, it throws the ball back to Congress, who I have very little confidence in, but it does put the ball back in their court and tell them, you make the laws. We elected you. If this law needs a reinterpretation or some clarification, then do it. Do not punt it to the ATF. That's going to benefit us in many ways, well outside the Bureau of Land Management. That's going to be huge. Bureau of Land Management has completely abused their power over the years. That's going to make some changes right there. DEQ, environmental protection, a lot. Again, the IRS, who knows there? But I mean, this has the ability to really change some things out there. Now I know what you're thinking. You're just like I am. They can still abuse their powers and do stupid stuff. That's exactly right. They still can. But once it makes it to a court system, if you have a fair or reasonable judge in there, now they're going to have to get their own experts instead of saying we're the experts. You saw the expert on the Dettelbach video where he was with, I think it was NBC. The guy couldn't break down a Glock, the most common handgun in probably American history besides the 1911. The most purchased and most owned handgun in more recent history, clearly. And this guy can't break it down. And he is literally looked at from Dettelbach and these experts on TV as being the gun expert. And he cannot tear one down. That guy no longer will be considered the expert in a court of law. So that's a big help to me. So anyway, some neat stuff that does. I think that that's going to change a lot of stuff out there as far as court rulings. I think that that's going to change the way some of these prosecutors approach things. I think the ATF is certainly going to change the way they approach prosecuting or trying to get somebody brought to court, because they've leaned on deference, Chevron deference, for so long. Now they're not going to get that deference. So they're going to have to rely on another angle and another method to roll into court with maybe a legitimate plan now, instead of just saying, we're the experts, listen to me. This is what Congress meant when they said that, because that's what they've been doing, is speaking on behalf of Congress members who in some cases have been dead for decades. And they're saying, this is what they meant when they wrote this in 1934, right? So interesting stuff, very interesting stuff. I want to point out some things before I go. I want you guys to see some stuff. And don't get mad, don't get jealous. I say that jokingly, because hopefully this will be coming to a state near you very soon. As you guys know, I'm in the state of Louisiana. State of Louisiana, we finally got rid of our Democrat governor. And just in one quick year, less than a year, of having a real governor, a Republican governor who is a staunch Second Amendment supporter, we quickly got constitutional carry, and a really good constitutional carry at that. Like age-wise, really good constitutional carry. There's no age restrictions. It's not some 18 to 21 can't carry. No, 18 can. It's a pretty damn good law that we have. So what I'm doing, one of my partners in the industry is Mission First Tactical. I certainly encourage you guys to go to Mission First Tactical. In fact, I don't know if the holster is up on their website. It may be. We are going to launch a brand new holster this weekend. I take that back. Not this weekend. I keep thinking weekend because of the holidays. But Thursday on Independence Day, we're going to release. Yeah, I don't see it out there. My friends over at Mission First Tactical, this is all their holsters and things like that. They have some really cool holsters that I'm a big fan of. Again, full disclosure, I do work directly with Mission First Tactical, not for them, but with them. They do sponsor my program, and they allowed me and a good friend of mine with Rougarou Firearms over in Baton Rouge to design specifically. Let me take my carry gun out. You like that retention? I need to soften those screws up a little bit. This is from a 6-hour P365. This is the Louisiana one that we have, and it says Louisiana constitutional carry. As you can see, it's the Coca-Cola Classic design that we ripped off. Yes, we ripped it off. We meant to do that. And instead of the real thing, it says the right thing on it. So you're going to be able to get this. And for right now, because of the guns that I carry, there's 2 of them right now that you're going to get them in. 2 different sizes. You're going to have the P365 or the Glock 19. Those are my 2 most common guns that I carry, depending on the season. And then you're also going to have that in this American flag camo with the Louisiana seal on there. That one's the Glock 19, by the way. But these are going to be available for sure starting Thursday, possibly as early as tomorrow or the next day. They should be on Mission First Tactical's website. But these are going to be really cool. We're and when I said earlier about hopefully we will do this for all the states, my goal is to talk to Mission First Tactical. And by the way, I'm not making any money off of these holsters either. In fact, I think if you use my code, you'll get a discount on them. So my code, as always, is FTATF. So go to Mission First Tactical's website and use the code Mission First. Use the code FTATF at checkout, and you're going to get 10% off whatever you're buying. Hopefully, you're getting a holster. So these will be on there. You will be able to purchase either one of these designs for either one of those pistols. I think at some point, if you want it in another pistol design or another pistol size, you'll be able to get it. But my goal is that me and Anthony, my friend at Rougarou Firearms that designed this, hopefully we'll start making some state-specific holsters for every state. What I would like to do is address the ones that have constitutional carry first. I know that's not your fault if your state doesn't have it. That's your politicians in the state. But I feel like more people are probably carrying once you get constitutional carry. So we want to address the 28 states that do have constitutional carry first. So hopefully we will have move on and start doing more of these other states. Again, it's not that Mission First Tactical is trying to do something special for Louisiana. I asked them to do this because I'm from Louisiana. So again, I did mention to them, look, I think we need to do this for all the states. So look for that. I'm hoping that we can get rolling pretty soon on that. Let's see how this design does, you know, either the Coca-Cola or the camo one. I don't know that we'll have 2 designs for every single state. We may actually get rid of one of these designs on their website. But as soon as that link is available to these, I will send it out there. Again, I don't get any money. In fact, my logo is not on here, but I did in fact make this request, and they fulfilled that for me, and we did design this. So I am directly tied to it as far as that. I didn't want my logo on there because some people may not want my logo on there. So I figured that was pretty cool to not do that. But I will stay directly involved in that, and I will be working hopefully to put these other states out there, and so everybody can have one. And I'm just a big fan of their I love their holsters. I've used since before, and that's kind of how I do on a lot of my stuff. Whenever I work with somebody, a sponsor, I've usually been a fan of their product and a user of their product, a customer, well before I ever into any kind of official agreement with them. And it's only been a few months now that I've done that with Mission First, but I've been carrying their holsters for years and been a fan of their magazines. I use their magazines, their AR-15 magazines. Their bags are awesome too. I'll show you some of the bags whenever we do the stuff, the launch on Independence Day. But July 4th, Independence Day, is when these will officially be out. So looking to actually show you guys these, and hopefully you guys will see the interest in them and purchase one for yourself also. Again, I don't make any money off of them, but I am excited to see them out there in the wild, if you will. I'm excited Louisiana's getting constitutional carry Thursday. South Carolina already got it, which really kind of pissed me off that South Carolina did it after Louisiana, but they made theirs immediate. And I'm thinking, why didn't we do that? You know, we should have. But I guess it's the kind of ceremonial thing of Independence Day and giving constitutional carry. So I get the whole marketing side of it and the optics of it. I guess it looks cooler or whatever. But nevertheless, 2 days away from that, 3 days away from that, and we'll have it. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm always grateful when you spend time with me. I know you have better things to do. When you do that with me and you sit here on a live stream, it means a lot to me. And it's very humbling to me that you guys do that. So look for more of the live streams. I am going to work on the cell phone interaction with my board. I'll have that fixed before next time. What my goal is that we at least one time a week do a live stream, and I allow you guys to call in. I'll let you like we may hit on my topics in the first 15 to 30 minutes of the live stream, and then let you guys determine what we talk about for the remainder of the show. And it doesn't have to be Second Amendment related. I'm okay with that. We'll tackle Second Amendment related topics at the beginning of the show, and then after that, on the live stream, we'll let you guys interact. I'm hoping to take. I don't want to cut people off if I can, but I'm hoping to take as many of those phone calls as I can, so more of you will have the opportunity to call in. And even if you're just asking a question, or if we're having an actual conversation, either way, I think that's going to be super interesting. I don't know that anybody's doing that in the Second Amendment space right now. I'm excited about it because it's fun. So hopefully this does work and I can iron the bugs out of the whole phone thing. I do have a dedicated phone number just for my channel, and that's what I want to utilize. And at some point I'll publish the number. Again, it's going to be fun because it's going to be like lighting firecrackers or really sharp fuses. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, a leftist can come on here and start ranting right off that, dropping F-bombs and bug out. You never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be fun and very unpredictable. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again, guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys. As always, please carry a gun, whether you have to get a permit for it or you just carry it open or whatever. Please carry a gun, get training, and teach somebody else how to carry a gun. Old person, take them to the range, because people miss going to the range. In some cases, they don't want to go by themselves. So ask an old person who you remember seeing at the range a lot. Ask them, if you don't see them anymore, if they'd like to ride with you. That might spike their interest and get them to go back out. They just may not be comfortable going by themselves. If you have young kids in the family, ask them, treat them to a day at the range. Start out with a 22 long rifle if you want to, if you're looking at it from a recoil standpoint or whichever. A lot of you were probably like me. It was a trial by fire with me. Threw a shotgun in my hand at a very young age, and everything else was easy after that. So hopefully you guys can take that and pass that on to the next generation, because unfortunately, too many people are relying on these institutional indoctrination camps, public schools, to teach kids. And what they're doing is teaching these kids that guns are bad. And we have to do our work to make sure that these kids are not being indoctrinated to the point where they ignore the Constitution. Thanks, guys. Have a good Monday evening. We'll be talking to you guys very, very soon.